Hello from Miami. My name is Karl, and I'm happy to be reading for Real Pants Presents What's New in Poetry. The first poem that I will read is called An Offshoot of Melancholy. It starts. Simply enough, it starts. In the geography of a dream, the landscape is being mapped and remapped. A thing that happens, then keeps happening. You see, there are these ants, and the ants are a marching band. Actually, there are a lot of ants. They equal at least 2 marching bands. So they line up all along the bleachers, only they have been stripped of their instruments. On the floor, the conductor waves his upright leg in an attempt to usher in music. If music would come, if the notes would sound, if vibration were felt. You see, there is a dream, and the dream is about a dead body. There is the memory of the body alive, but each memory becomes rememory, and the brain knows to distrust the recollection. In the dream, the ants descend the bleachers. The dead body becomes covered in ants with instruments. If music. It starts simply enough. If what were felt would vibrate. If the body covered with ants were transformed to a conductor of music, then wind would become him. The geography. What happens continues to happen. It starts simply enough. There are ants, there is sister, there is a conductor, there is a dream couched in the language of the alive. There are symbols that mean nothing. They zig across the rip in memory. The rip in memory sprouts. The sprouting sprouts are harvested. The harvested sprouting sprouts are rinsed clean of thought, and the ants begin again. There is wind, the sound of strings loosening with heat. If sister, we touched. If mapped, there is a bridge. Bodies and boats float below. Simply enough it begins. The wind, a ringing bell, the whoosh of empty. If dreamt. An allegory about a cavity. Say, sister. Within the cavity, the dancing ant stood still, washed upon light until the sound of sizzle, if music. Within the cavity, the gums bled new, and life sprouted from the memory. But the life did not spread to the body. The body fought. The body sustained. The body broke. The life did not spread to the lifeless. In the reoccurring dream that happens during waking hours with eyes open, lifeless does not become alive, regardless of orchestration, regardless of rewrites to the rememory. The ants wind up on the bleachers, sometimes with instruments. Sometimes the conductor feels happy and thinks life is complete within the harmony of horns and percussions. Precisely the time the percussions come in, how simply it all starts. A clash of a cymbal, stripped of potency, a symbol lifeless like a body. Once we touched, there was a bridge, there was an esplanade, there were bikes and games played inside of an empty tree. The tree is youth. A dream that stretches back into the woods. The woods are dark. They are not dark as in a symbol. They are dark because the sun has set. And the dream of the reoccurring dream, whether it is inside or outside, it remains sunless. If mapped. Listlessness of geography. Some call this sister. Some call this absence, an offshoot of melancholy, wound of non-meaning, meaning arbitrary eruption via contingency of being. Simply enough, it starts. Simply enough in the cavity of a memory ripping with sprouts. Ants dotted the rips and traversed the sprouts. These are not my ants. The ants appeared without desire of the dream. The memory remembers nothing of the ants. And yet, the ants always appear. The next poem I will read is called And I Dragged My Sister's Feeble Body Up the Mountain. Sometimes crawling on fours like a pig, pushing through weeds and waste, and when she went mad, and oh, when sister went mad, we tied her hands and feet, and he took her tied hands and feet, and slung that body filled with bird bones over the back of my brother, and over the back of my brother they dragged sister away. A scent of sister where the bodies go to die, and I kept my gut from bursting, but then I was gutted, and then I burst. I became what she had already become, and as a wraith I scoured that mountain, looking for sister. I turned over each picked clean bone. I became an ant and entered the rot with the maggots. I became a branch to hear the chatter of crows. I became a stream to taste the rocks for her blood. I became a wraith to search at night and to know how the dead curses life. But the sky rejected me. So on fours I crawled through the weeds and waste covered and mud from the rains. I snorted and snarled and sunned on the rocks, and the mud dried and the mud cracked, and brother came and mother came and father came, and they brought the body of a girl who had been ravaged, and they dropped that ravaged thing of a being upon the rock, enchanted to the day thing, to soothe her ruined soul, and they did not recognize me as a pig, and if they did recognize me, they would have called me betrayal. They would have tried to kill me and offer up my dead killed body without praise or peace, which is how brother left sister, mad to go more mad, to fight with maggots and crows for food. And this is when I knew, this is when the first burst came, and my blood boiled and shouted sister, and my eyes burst into sockets of spraying blood, and my heart severed itself upon my cage, and my cage ripped through its skin, and I became a wraith, and I became a brother who had lost a sister, and I became a sisterless thing of this world. And so I went to the mountain where the rocks jut out and punctuate space of sky, the mountain where the crows cover sky black, the mountain of bared rocks sucking in sun, the mountain of the banished, the mountain of the given up, and the ravaged, and the mad made, and the mad gone, the mountain where they bring the dead, the mountain which receives the dead, the mountain which receives and makes what is not dead, dead. And to the sky again, ravaged and raged, I soared, and my head burst open, and the mountain received me. And as the mountain received me, I said, Thanks for listening.